Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk is live and direct on a Victory Tuesday. Who's hotter than the Kansas City Chiefs? 5 wins in 6. And though it took a minute for last night's game to look like we thought it was going to look, it looked like we thought it was going to look. Domination for the Chiefs over the Commanders on Monday Night Football. We'll talk all about it on this Victory Tuesday edition of 580 Sports Talk on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on our video channels, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube, WIBW News on Facebook. Like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube. Tune us in, program us, put us at P1 on your AM and your FM presets. However, wherever, whenever you're listening to this program, thanks so much for being a part of the audience on this happy version of 580 Sports Talk. My name is Dan Lucero. Spencer Dupuis will show his face in a little while. He's not ducking the smoke, even though his Commanders fell short at Arrowhead Stadium last night. Hey, he lived to tell the tale, first and foremost, didn't spontaneously combust up in the press box. I was a little concerned about that. He did not have press access revoked. I was less concerned about that, frankly, than I was about the combustion thing, but we're all good there. And he has some exclusive, I am told, locker room audio we're going to hear in a little while in this opening hour of the program as we get into that 28-7 victory for the Chiefs over the Commanders on Monday Night Football last night. Spencer will join us. We'll get his perspective, what it was like to be there, all that fun stuff. Lots to get to from the game itself. The best team in football. I'll call them that if nobody else will. I know that the numbers are going to disagree. DVOA says it's the Colts. Your local power rankings of choice on whatever sports website you like to go to might say it's the Colts or the Rams or the Eagles or whomever. No, you saw the best team in football on display last night. And even though they kind of yanked around for 15, you could argue the first 30 minutes of the game, the Chiefs proved again last night that whenever they want to, theirs goes to 11. And their winning run goes to 5 out of 6 since that 0-2 start. The best team in the NFL. And they showed you what that looked like last night. Once they got serious, Washington never had a prayer. We'll talk about all of it. The good, the bad, the unfortunate, the injury situation now with Isaiah Pacheco out week to week. He is week to week. I shouldn't say out week to week. He is week to week. Aren't we all week to week? It's an old Dan Patrick and Keith Olbermann bit from when they used to do SportsCenter together. He's day to day. We're all day to day. Isaiah Pacheco's week to week, and we're all week to week. But how much could that affect the running game? We'll get into that a little bit as far as the negatives from last night, but a whole lot more positives. The offense clicking. Patrick Mahomes, as masterful as you can be in a game while still having 2 interceptions on your ledger. Travis Kelce, rolling back the years, 1 yard shy of being the first Chiefs receiver with a 100-yard game this season. Lots to enjoy, lots to discuss, and of course, your reaction to the game as well. Want to hear from you today on the text line, 785-272-9429. That is 785-272-9429. Can also get at us in the live chat on our YouTube stream. Again, go subscribe to the YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. Our subscriber count has blown up in the last week or so. So we're over the 850 hump. And now 900 starts to feel a little bit more real, which means when we get to 900, that's our stretch goal. 900 subscribers on our YouTube, 580 Sports Talk. We will do, all 3 of us, myself, Spencer Dupuis, and Brendan Dworzinski, who's off today, we will all do karaoke. Songs that you select for us to sing, we will sing on the radio. You won't want to miss that when we get around to it. In fact, you want to get us closer to that day here on this show. So go subscribe if you are not already. It doesn't cost you anything but a click over on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. And while you're over there watching the live show, why don't you hop in the chat, say hi, introduce yourself, interact with your fellow listeners. Vance, Mark, and Tyler are in the chat already today. Don't you want to join the cool kids table with those three? Go watch us on YouTube. Throw us up on your Roku or your Fire TV or whatever you got. I'm not that horrifying looking in 720p on your TV. I don't think we stream in 4K. Got to be honest. I do not believe that we have 4K streaming capability with our in-studio cameras. So it's not that bad. You're not going to see like every pore on my skin. I promise you that. But go check it out and say hi in the YouTube chat. Again, 580 Sports Talk. Do want to hear from you. Your thoughts on last night's Chiefs victory. Plenty to discuss from that game. Like I said, we'll get some exclusive locker room audio on the show here. Spencer Dupuis gathered that last night. You're going to hear from a couple of the defensive heroes of last night's game, Mike Dana and Jack Cochran. What an odd pair to have interceptions, but it was those two who intercepted Marcus Mariota last night. We'll also hear from a few members of the offensive line who found some traction in the second half and helped the Chiefs offense get going. You'll hear from Jalen Moore, you'll hear from Creed Humphrey, and you'll hear from Mike Caliendo. So lots of football to get to today. We're going to talk some Jayhawks, bottom of the 4 o'clock hour. Michael Swain is our guest today from Fog.net, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. It's Jayhawk Weekly. We do it every Tuesday at the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour. We have Michael's take on another Kansas loss in the Sunflower Showdown on the gridiron, and also his thoughts on KU's opening scrimmage against Louisville. KU's back on the hardwood tonight. They play at Allen Fieldhouse tonight against Fort Hays State, another exhibition game against an MIAA foe. So get some thoughts on what to expect from that with Michael later on in the show. And we are going to have to make time for Game 3 of the World Series last night. If I look a little rough, I saw the whole thing. And not like intently watching from the first pitch, I don't mean. I didn't get the game turned on until I was second screening it when I was watching the second half of the Chiefs game. This is how things work when you have a small child and you help out with bedtime. Because I'm not going to say, sorry, honey, bedtime's all yours. Not when I do that to her every night I have a high school sporting event. I already leave her high and dry for bedtime. No, we have DVR. The DVR was invented for a reason. I'll record the game, help out with bedtime, and then once bedtime is complete and Asher's down, I'll go and start the game. So I usually start watching the game right around like when real time, the game's at halftime, and I get caught up around the start of the second half. That's typically how it works. So I get caught up, and then if there's something else on TV, I'll put on the second screen. I had the World Series on the second screen last night. And the Chiefs finished right when the ball game, I think, was going to the 8th inning, maybe the 9th. And then they played a whole other entire baseball game after that. They played 2 games, 18 innings. Freddie Freeman hit that home run to walk it off for the Dodgers. It was 1:59 Central Time. Ask me how I know. Was up for it. How many of you were up for it last night? I can't believe those guys have to play again. Major League Baseball should have pushed it back. You know what they need in LA tonight? A rainout. Everybody needs a day to decompress from that game. So we're going to talk about it because you know I'm a baseball guy, but there was so much in that game last night, including a hero turn nobody saw coming from a former Royal. So we're going to get a little baseball in later on in the show. And, of course, your comments. Again, the text line, 785-272-9429. And on the YouTube chat, our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. But we begin with Chiefs 28, Commanders 7. If you are online a decent amount and are familiar with some of the more popular image memes, you may have seen a meme, a drawing of a person playing a video game and leaning forward in their chair. The point of the meme is to try and show, okay, things have gotten serious. I'm now leaning forward in my gamer chair with my controller. I was playing for fun and lounging, but now I'm invested. I'm leaning forward in my chair. The video game meme, memes, visual memes do not translate well to audio. They're very hard to explain. I realize I sound ridiculous trying to explain a visual meme, but just if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, well, I did my best. Anyway, I say that to say that meme, that was the Chiefs in the second half last night. The first half, I thought the Chiefs dinked around a little bit. They largely outplayed the Commanders for that first 30 minutes, but the game was tied going into the locker room thanks to a pair of turnovers. One, the first real bad one of the year for Mahomes, really the only one of the four now through 8 games that is Mahomes' fault. I don't know why you would ever throw a back shoulder throw to Hollywood Brown. That's the wrong guy to throw that ball to. Now, Marshawn Lattimore made a great play and stayed in bounds. It was a super play. Mahomes probably thought, yeah, if I throw this, it's either my receiver or nobody's going to make a play on it. And Lattimore rolled back the years and made a great play. Credit to him. But you had that, and then you had the drop pass by Kelsey turning into the Bobby Wagner interception. That was an unction on the middle of the field. That was an unk convention. A couple of old guys moving really slow and stiff. Kelsey with the drop, kind of turning around and watching Bobby Wagner very slowly intercept the pass. Two of the oldest players. They're going to be in Canton one day. They can joke about it when they get their gold jackets one day. And then the Commanders scored a last-second touchdown. Great play by Terry McLaurin to get his foot down on the side of the end zone on that lofted pass from Marcus Mariota. It was a frustrating drive. Chiefs had a couple of busts in coverage. There were tight ends and running backs getting open. The pass rush was struggling. The Chiefs' offensive line wasn't particularly excellent. Mahomes was under some duress and struggling a bit with the Commanders' zone defense. And then the two teams came out of the locker room. And they grabbed a game that had felt up for grabs. 8 plays, 80 yards, touchdown out of the locker room. Forced punt, 8 plays, 75 yards, touchdown. Then after another fabulous catch by Terry McLaurin, moved the ball into scoring range for Washington at the Kansas City 37 on their second drive of the second half. The next 3 plays went for 1 yard, -2 yards. That was the near interception by Jalen Watson, tackling Luke McCaffrey for a loss on the screen pass. And then -10 yards when Mike Dana had the easiest sack of his life when nobody blocked him. Honest to goodness, I watched the play live. I think, were they trying to throw a screen? No, man, nobody picked up 51. Wild. Anyhow, the Chiefs get the stop, force the punt, 13 plays, 94 yards, touchdown, 28-7. Thank you for coming out. We will validate your parking on the way out. That is what dominance looks like. That is what a champion looks like. And it is hard. You play 34 halves in a regular season. Even the best of the best of the best do not always play championship level in a half of football. Even in a first half of football against a team, let's be honest, the Chiefs were double-digit favorites. We all thought, well, Spencer didn't think they'd cover, but they still thought they'd win by double figures. Most of the consensus was that the Chiefs were going to win and that it wasn't maybe going to be particularly close as these things go. And we got there. It was a bit of a circuitous route to get there, but we got there because the Chiefs turned it on and proved once again that when we step on the gas, nobody catches us. When we are at our best, there's nobody better. I think if we've learned anything about what is almost an entire half of a football season, 8 out of 17 games, I am confident in stating that the Chiefs have proven their best with everybody up, everybody healthy, all the key components. Their best is better than anyone else's best. And they proved it last night at home. I thought that the biggest keys to the game were the halftime adjustments. Chiefs had to make some adjustments. It was a tie game at 7. And doing what they had been doing was going to keep getting them what they had been getting. They had to make a change. It was an interesting matchup for the Chiefs passing game because Patrick Mahomes so far this season has not been as productive against man coverage as he has been against zone coverage, which of course is a little ironic given Mahomes's career path, where early in his career, he had guys that would beat man coverage routinely. And so he was great against man. And the way that you slowed Mahomes and the Chiefs was getting into some good zone defense. Like Lou Anarumo always seemed to cook up when he was the defensive coordinator in Cincinnati. So it's a bit of full circle for Mahomes that now at this stage in his career, his work against man coverage, especially with a lot of guys who don't beat man coverage as readily as prime Travis Kelce and prime Tyreek Hill, those numbers have dipped, but he's been off the charts good against zone coverage. What do the Commanders do well? Zone defense. They don't play man particularly well. They are better by the numbers when they zone up. So it was a matchup of strength versus strength. And I think what you saw in the first half, and people were critical of the offensive line play, and they weren't great in the first half. I'm not entirely defending the work of the offensive line. But I think what you saw in the first half was Mahomes, and to an extent, Matt Nagy, Andy Reid, sort of dissecting what it was that they were going to see zone-wise, where the windows might be in the zone, where the opportunities to scramble might be in the zone, who could get open against the zone. And then in the second half, they tore it to pieces. Absolutely tore it to pieces. Mahomes was 17 of 19 in the second half for 210 yards and 3 touchdowns. And by the end of the game, the Commanders were like, shoot, let's try this man defense thing. We got to try something new. And the Chiefs were like, all right, bet. We're going to get Rashee Rice matched up against Bobby Wagner. Let's see how that goes. You know how that went? That went touchdown, Kansas City. That's how that went. My apologies to Mitch Holthus for one of the worst Mitch Holthus impersonations ever heard on this radio station. But that's how that worked. That was the adjustment. The Chiefs had a half to kind of feel their way through it a little bit. It's a credit to Washington. They did what they do well, better than what Mahomes and the Chiefs passing game does well for a half. Good luck doing that for 60 minutes. On the defensive side for the Chiefs, you could tell from the first drive of the game that the Commanders came into this game with only but so many ideas. And most teams with a backup quarterback feel that way about a game against a really good team. They came out running like a service academy tempo. Marcus Mariota's taken snaps with 3 on the play clock on the opening drive, and the signal was unmistakable. It was a very, very clear sign that the Commanders did not think they could beat the Chiefs unless they shortened the football game dramatically. And look, credit to them. They shortened the first half pretty dramatically. Each team really had only 3 possessions, and they got into the halftime tied. It worked for them. And Mariota made some plays, a couple of good scrambles, nice job using his feet and finding receivers that would leak open, usually backs and tight ends. But the more questions you ask of an offense down to a backup quarterback already struggling to run the football, the more rope you are going to give that offense with which to hang itself. And that was what you saw in the second half, where they didn't really do anything except for that shot play to McLaurin. McLaurin was good. McLaurin made 2 super catches in the game. Deebo Samuel, non-factor. Spags just knows how to scheme Deebo into total irrelevance. And the run game, which again came in looking like a strength for the Commanders this season, really hasn't been for like the last month or so. Like, it was really good early. It really hasn't been very good lately. And the Chiefs kept that aspect of their game struggling. Also, taking a lead helps. And you turned Washington ultimately into a one-dimensional football team. And that dimension with Marcus Mariota running the show looks a lot different than that dimension with Jaden Daniels running the show. They got to the game that was played on their terms and got away from a game that was being played a little bit on Washington's terms. And the end result, again, ended up being what we expected. Were the Chiefs flawless? No. There were more special teams issues, a couple of bad penalties on special teams, a couple of bad penalties overall. I mean, the Chiefs had to gain, I think, would have been over 100 yards on that 94-yard scoring drive because Rashee Rice had a holding penalty that wiped out a nice run by Brashard Smith, and then had a 15-yard penalty for throwing the ball at a guy's head. He tried to say afterward he's throwing the ball to the ref. Come on, man. Nah, you got up, you were jawing with the defensive back, and then, oh, you coincidentally hit him in the face mask with a little flip of the football. Come on, Rashee. We're not stupid. Come on, man. We don't need the excuses. It's a bozo thing to do. Grow up and learn from it. So there were some of those. The offensive line, I thought it looked like they were missing two starters. And what I mean by that is things are a little choppy, and the backups sometimes have reps where you are reminded why it is that they are backups. So it was not an A-plus game, but for 30 minutes of football, it was BTA, belt to you-know-what, by a team that has come out since their 0-2 start feeling like they had something to prove. They'll tell you up and down they don't read the headlines at One Arrowhead Drive, but they are moving like a team that read the "Is the Dynasty Dead?" articles after 2 weeks and decided, no, it's not. Watch this. Watch how good, watch how great we still are at our best. Only got 30 minutes of it last night. More than enough to convince me of what I already felt. That's the best team in football you saw last night at Arrowhead Stadium. We'll take a timeout here on 580 Sports Talk. We'll come back with your reaction. Want to hear your thoughts, your takeaways, questions, comments? 785-272-9429 on the text line. This next segment's for you. Also, drop them into the YouTube comments. This segment's for you as well. Coming up in a little bit this hour, we got some exclusive locker room audio. Mike Dana, Jack Cochran, Jalen Moore, Mike Caliendo, Creed Humphrey. I'll talk to our guy Spencer Dupuis after the game, along with the rest of the assembled press. So you'll get some post-game locker room reaction to that 28-7 Chiefs victory. Lots of Chiefs to come. Michael Swain's going to join us. We got a jam-packed show today. Thanks so much for being with us here on 580 Sports Talk.
Snap to Mahomes, retreating, moving to his right. Now pump faking, throws it lane wide open, touchdown! Kansas City, Kareem Hunt has his 18th receiving touchdown. The Chiefs take the lead on the second touchdown of the night for Kareem Hunt.
Mitch Holtis on the Chiefs Radio Network with that call. 28-7. Chiefs are winners over the Commanders last night. Dan Lucero back with you here on 580 Sports Talk. Spencer Dupuis will join us in a bit. A couple of comments from the live chat on YouTube from Vance here. These are good questions. Number one, can I address the stats from last night? 299 yards passing and 99 receiving yards for Travis. Come on, coach. You have a passing play to Kelsey to get 2 yards. Yeah, Brendan was joking about that last night on our instant reaction video, which you can find on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, that it's a little unsatisfying to end up just shy of the round number, to be on 299 for Mahomes and 99 receiving yards for Kelsey. I think even Troy Aikman mentioned it on the final drive of the game. Like, yeah, like throw an arrow route. Maybe it was SVP afterwards. Somebody mentioned it on ESPN that, hey, Chiefs haven't had a 100-yard receiver this year. Not many guys Kelsey's age get a crack at a 100-yard receiving game. It would have been nice to have seen him get a real look at that last night. But Andy Reid's never going to do anything to embarrass a colleague. I firmly believe that. Andy Reid's not in the business of embarrassing, particularly a non-division team. Division teams sometimes maybe are a different story. Like, Hungry Pig Wright was embarrassing to the Denver Broncos. Like, every time they gave the ball to Dontari Poe, that was intended to embarrass a little bit. When he threw the touchdown on that Christmas Day game to against the Broncos, that felt a little personal. But broadly, Andy Reid's not going to embarrass a colleague. But I agree. Yeah, it would have been nice to see some round numbers and a 100-yard receiver for the Chiefs for the first time this year. Vance also points out George Karlaftis becoming a defensive MVP right before our eyes. He is, again, it may not be showing up on the stat sheet, but if you're watching the games, you know he is winning his matchup every single week and decisively, and getting into the backfield and disrupting timing and creating scrambles and incomplete passes. And, you know, you don't get a sack for those things. You don't get a sack. You chase the quarterback and he gets a yard scrambling out of bounds. But, like, that's a win for a pass rusher. And George Karlaftis gets a lot of pressure and wins a lot of reps. He's been super this year. I was skeptical that he had another level to get to as a player. I think he's getting there. And right now, that contract the Chiefs signed Karlaftis to looks like a bargain. That extension they gave him this offseason, right now it looks like a bargain. Mark in the YouTube comments says, not sure Travis Kelce's done yet. Still got some gas left in the tank. Yeah, 6 for 99, including that 38-yard run. You could see on the 38-yard catch and run that the motor doesn't turn over quite like it used to. I don't think I've ever seen Kelce have to put his head down to get to top speed. That was pretty funny. He had all that space. He put his head straight down, dropped his head for those first couple of steps. Like, I got to get going in a hurry. Yeah, the top speed probably not there for Trav like it used to be. But, yeah, he was super. We'll talk more about him coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. But, yeah, he was tremendous. Looking for more of your thoughts? Text line's open, 785-272-9429. Can also, again, interact with us in the live chat on our YouTube comment section. We got the live chat running throughout the show over at 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. When we come back, some exclusive locker room audio from last night. Hear from some of the Chiefs players who played a role in helping the Chiefs win their 5th game in their last 6 last night over the Commanders. Next on 580 Sports Talk.
Kansas City at the Commander 10. Pacheco, the running back, shading to the right side car position of Mahomes to the short side of the field. Mahomes takes the snap at his left knee, keeping the feet alive. Sings it late for the end zone. It's caught. Touchdown! Kansas City! And Travis Kelce with the catch now ties Priest Holmes for the most touchdowns in Kansas City Chiefs history. A 10-yard strike, and the Chiefs have that coveted second half two-possession lead.
Another one from Mitch Holtis on the Chiefs radio network. Chiefs winners last night 28-7 over the Commanders. And after the game, our Spencer Dupuis, perhaps reluctantly, trudged down to the winning locker room as the Kansas City Chiefs defeated his beloved Washington Commanders. We're throwing little jabs in at Spencer. He's going to get a chance to come on in. You're going to hear from him in a little while. But Spencer putting in the work, boots on the ground in the winning locker room last night, and got to hear from a bunch of Chiefs players. We're going to bring you some of that audio from the winning locker room. We'll start with Mike Dana, who was a surprise hero last night. Dana hadn't really given the Chiefs much of anything early this season, but generated an interception to bring a halt to the first drive of the night for the Commanders after a pass bounced off of Deebo Samuel's face mask, and also had a sack that was critical in the fourth quarter of last night's game. So here's what Mike Dana had to say. We'll start hearing from the Chiefs players from the winning locker room last night. We'll start with Mike Dana.
What's the closest you ever come to having an interception?
I came close to one 2 years ago at New England. The ball tipped up in the air, and a bunch of us behind me was like, scuffling and scraping for it, and nobody got it. So, this one was kind of good, to have. I'm definitely going to enjoy it.
How does it feel just to make a big impact on the game?
Oh, it feels great, man. You kind of just got to, stay the course, stay true to the process, man. You understand that opportunity is going to come, and when you get those opportunities, you just got to cash in on it.
Can you talk about the defensive performance you shut them out in the second half?
Oh, man, defense, hats off to Coach Spags, hats off to all three levels, to linebackers, DBs, D-line, everybody played well. The whole team played good, all three phases, First half was a little shaky, but, we wanted to come out to the second half and make a statement, and we did just that.
What was the conversation like at halftime after that? You said a shaky first half.
We knew that wasn't our best ball in that first half. We just wanted to come down and, come out that second half and, apply pressure, and, just play ball how we play ball. And we figured out a way, and, we shut them out.
Now it's Buffalo next, and want to enjoy this one, but that's always a highlight game in the NFL.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to it. It's always a challenge. Each week's a challenge, we got honed in on our coaching tips and practice. We got to execute what we got to do. And just all cylinders, we got to be, we got to just, execute. And I think the thing about that is just, not looking too far ahead, handle it one day at a time, and everything's going to fall in place for us.
Mike, with looking in the past, this team's only given up 14 points in its last 10 quarters on defense. So is it gelled officially, or you still got some stuff to take care of?
Oh, man, we always got work to do. It's never, ever gelled. We're playing good, but it's always more work. We always can improve on details or techniques, fundamentals, So I think this week is going to be crucial for us. Everybody know we got a big opponent coming in, and, we just got to play sound football and stay on top of our keys.
So Dana was one defensive hero with an interception last night. Really his best game in a couple of years. I think that was his best, certainly his most impactful game on the stat sheet since he signed that 3-year extension before last season, that 3-year contract. Also recording an interception last night, and maybe you turned the game off or flipped it to baseball or something because the game was already in hand. Jack Cochran intercepted Marcus Mariota at the very end of the night, which allowed the Chiefs to kneel out the game. Here's a little bit of what Cochran had to say at his locker last night.
Teams, but tonight, when Harrison gets that kick that they muff and get it to 1 yard line, what kind of just a boost is that for you guys?
Yeah, it's a huge lift. I mean, anytime you can put the opposing offense on the -2. Obviously, defensive coaches love that, and we get a stop, we can flip the field position for the offense. So field position is such a massive part of the game. So anytime we can provide that for our team as a special teams, that's huge. That's what we're looking to do.
Just what's the overall sense of this defense after 2 weeks and a shutout and then just 7 points tonight?
Yeah, it's great. I'm obviously playing some decent football, but we talk about a lot. No matter if we play a good game, you never want your best game of the season to be in October. So we'll keep striving to get better, and as the year goes on, keep continuing to play our best each week.
A cool moment for Cochran, and nice to be talking about him in a context that is not, oh, great, he made another holding penalty, made another mistake on special teams. Chiefs really got to get that cleaned up. Too many penalties on their returns and not enough good kick coverage. I think they might just start having Butker blast the ball out of the end zone moving forward at this rate. Anyway, what about the offensive side of the ball? Jalen Moore making his third start in a row in place of Josh Simmons, and had a tough first half, but adjusted as the game went along. Jacob Martin kind of gave him the blues early on, but Jalen Moore, I thought, settled in like the rest of the offense, the rest of the offensive line, played a much better second half. Here's Jalen Moore from the post-game locker room last night.
And really dominated. What was the conversation like at halftime, and what clicked in the second half for you guys to pull away?
It wasn't really too much major. We just had to come out and execute and kind of do the things that we know that we can do. Wasn't no big rah-rah speech. Everybody just had to look in the mirror and go out there and get it done, get the job done.
How do you feel that you played tonight?
I got a lot of things that I feel like I can work on and get better at. But that's the exciting part for me. I get to get back in the film room, get back in the lab, and continue to work, continue to climb that hill, and try to get better.
Is it just repetitions, getting out there? The more reps you get, the more comfortable you are?
Yeah, I would say so. And just visualizing and seeing what's wrong and kind of trying to tweak things. But that's the fun part. So, yeah.
And up next, huge game against Buffalo. That's a team, you guys butt heads with them every year. Just your thoughts, maybe you enjoy this one, but get ready for a gigantic matchup at Buffalo coming up on Sunday.
Yeah, it's a pretty good football team. We just got to go out and, continue to play good football, physical, and just go execute and be consistent.
Now with Rasheed back and everyone kind of getting together, does it start to scratch the surface of how good this offense can be?
Yeah, I feel like the sky's the limit. It's going to be exciting to watch and see.
You guys have won 5 of 6 games here. What's kind of worked and clicked for you guys to kind of get rolling here?
Just everybody buying in and working. We get on the practice field every week, and everybody's grinding to try to get better and improve. Even though we're riding you can say somebody's riding a high horse, but you wouldn't be able to tell when we go out there and work.
Coming from San Francisco, is there anything that Trent Williams may have told you over the last couple of years to get you ready for the last couple of weeks where you've been thrown into starting position?
He's just a walking gym. So anytime I can get something from him, I can. I've learned a lot from him over the years. So it's just kind of just applying it for me right now.
Thank you.
That is Jalen Moore. I said earlier, it looked like the Chiefs were down 2 starters on their offensive line last night. Like, that's how you would expect most teams to look, where it's a little shaky, a little shabby at times, but all told, Chiefs came through the night okay and obviously scored on all 3 of their meaningful second-half possessions. So they got things fixed, but it was a little bit up and down for Jalen Moore last night. It was a little bit up and down for Mike Caliendo as well, starting at right guard in place of the injured Trey Smith. Here's what Mike Caliendo had to say with the gaggle of press around his locker last night.
Earlier this week, Andy said he considers you a starter, and so do the other coaches. What does that mean to have that kind of vote of confidence from your head coach and the rest of the staff that you could step in and perform at that level?
Yeah, that's huge. I think as an offensive lineman, confidence is a big part of your play, and having leaders that like Coach Reed and Coach Heck that instill that confidence in you allows you to perform at your best on Sundays, no matter what's going on around you.
A little bit of a rough first half. You guys come out and dominate in the second half. What was that conversation like at halftime, and what clicked in the second half for you?
Yeah, I think we just had to shift our mindset, like I said earlier, and just get the confidence back and just be relentless every single play. I think we had to just continue that and continue staying focused and one play at a time for sure.
With everything that was going on, just what's it like to see Kelsey sort of bounce back, right? It's not every day where he sort of has a turnover and then obviously puts it on after the game.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Travis is an incredible leader. His presence in the locker room is essential, honestly, to our success. And the juice that he brings every game day, every day at practice. I mean, getting to see him get the ball a lot and make big yards. I mean, it's awesome. Yeah.
I know you want to enjoy this, but you've been around long enough with the Chiefs to know this. Playing the Bills, that's a big deal. It's a highlight game in the NFL. So maybe your thoughts about going to Buffalo and seeing them again.
Yeah, no doubt. They're a great team. And as soon as we wake up in the morning, that's what our focus will be for sure.
Mike, how much of the success of the offensive line can be attributed to just how good you guys are being on fourth down? You're now 14 of 16 on fourth down attempts.
Yeah, that's we emphasize every week the critical situations. It's when we have to step up, especially the offensive line. Those third and short, even third and long, we got to protect our butts off, and I think that's the mindset going into it. And then we just got to maintain that mindset and play relentlessly.
That was Mike Caliendo, and finally, we'll conclude our trip across the offensive line with some thoughts from Creed Humphrey after last night's game, one of the three regular starters who did start last night. Here's what Creed Humphrey told the assembled media.
Fill in and go from there.
Yeah, I mean, we got a ton of talent in the room, so I'm proud of how Mike played today. He played a really good game against a good D-line, so it was impressive to see. And so whoever we got out there, they're ready to roll.
Is that a testament to the work that you guys have done, leading into the season? What is it?
Yeah, definitely. This group has worked really hard throughout OTAs, training camp, throughout the season. So just proud of the guys and how they're performing.
What clicked in the second half to help you guys put them away?
Yeah, just execution. Making sure we're doing the right stuff on every play, taking it play by play. Not getting too high or too low throughout the game. Just staying even killed.
Andy called Mike. He said he considers him a starter. That's a luxury to have a guy like that to be able to step in a moment like this.
Yeah, definitely. Mike's a really talented player, and he works really hard too. So seeing him successful, it's been awesome. I love Mike. So just seeing him playing the way he is, it's awesome.
How big of a deal is it for this, whole team to be rolling the right direction with the one that's coming up on Sunday?
Big deal. It's a really good football team we got coming up Sunday, so we got to be on top of our game.
That was Creed Humphrey as he spoke to the media after the Chiefs' victory last night. Obviously, the Bills game was always a red-letter game for the Chiefs on their schedule, and they were always going to be keyed up for that game. It's their last one before the bye week. They come out of the bye at Denver and home against Indianapolis. We looked at the first 6 games of this season as being the most strenuous, and now up comes a 3-game stress test with a bye in the middle that might be more formidable than any portion of this Chiefs schedule when all is said and done. But they're going into it with some good vibes and a red-hot offense. A 28-7 win over the Commanders last night. We'll take one more timeout, come back, wrap up this hour of 580 Sports Talk, get you set up for the rest of the program here on 580 WIBW. 354 on 580 Sports Talk. Chiefs 28, Commanders 7. We got more to say about it coming up in the rest of the program. 1 hour about in the books. 2 more to go with you. We're here until 6 o'clock tonight on 580 Sports Talk. I'm going to talk about Patrick Mahomes. And if you just, again, you don't watch the games and you think, well, he threw 2 interceptions. Why are you going to gush about Patrick Mahomes? Because he was awesome. That's why. It was one of those Mahomes games that I think makes you realize that you take him for granted just a little bit. That Mahomes is a guy that maybe just a little bit you start to expect the unexpected. You start to, the insane becomes the mundane a little bit. Watching him, but don't ever take that dude for granted, man. He was incredible last night. Well, only one of the interceptions was even his fault, and can't blame him for Travis Kelce's stone hands on the Bobby Wagner interception on the second drive. And even the interception he threw, that was a great play by the defender. Sometimes defender makes a great play. I didn't like the throw and the route, but defender makes plays sometimes. He threw those 2 interceptions, and then after that, he was unbelievable. And a big part of the reason he was so good is because Travis Kelce was so good. Again, Travis Kelce dropped a pass into an interception. What are you doing gushing about Travis Kelce? Dude still got it. The body goes for every NFL player. But the football brain, the processing, the capacity to make plays, that is still very much in evidence for Travis Kelce, and you saw some of that last night. So we'll talk about those guys, some of the other heroes from the game last night. Also coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, Jayhawk Weekly with Michael Swain, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. You get Michael's take on KU's loss in the Sunflower Showdown on the gridiron. A look ahead to their game against Oklahoma State on Saturday. Also get his thoughts on KU basketball. We've seen the product on the floor. They played Louisville on Friday. They won that exhibition game. Bucket Jones was incredible for a half and then cramped up and really couldn't play much in the second half. We're going to see KU again tonight. They play Fort Hays State in another exhibition. So we'll get Michael's take on what he saw from the on-the-court product, Bill Self and the Jayhawks to begin 2025. Plus, want to hear from you throughout the next hour. Hop in that YouTube chat if you're watching the show on YouTube. And if you're not, turn it on. Why not? You're not. It's 4 o'clock. You're done working anyway. You're at your desk. Go punch us up on YouTube. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. Like, subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything but a click. And get in the live chat. Say hello. Interact with your hosts. Interact with your fellow listeners. You can also text the program 785-272-9429. More Chiefs, Michael Swain, what is wrong with you? All coming up in the 4 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Hour number 2 of 580 Sports Talk on this Victory Tuesday afternoon. Thanks so much for being with us on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and live on our video streaming channels. Catch us on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk, or on Facebook at WIBW News. I am Dan Lucero. Spencer Dupuis is in. We are with you for the next 2 hours here on the program. So glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. Hop in the live chat. Text line is open, 785-272-9429. Coming up this hour in the program, we're going to do What Is Wrong With You, and we're going to have Michael Swain join us for Jayhawk Weekly. Michael's thoughts as he covers the Jayhawks for Fog.net, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. We'll also have some more reaction to the Chiefs' win over the Commanders last night at Arrowhead Stadium. Still got headlines to come on the show. Going to talk about some injury concerns that are starting to build for the Chiefs. They've been one of the healthier teams in the league through the first 8 weeks or so, but sounds like they could be without Isaiah Pacheco for Sunday's big clash in Buffalo. We'll discuss that in a little bit. And we'll talk about Game 3 of the World Series. We'll get into that, too, on the show later on. Andrew in the YouTube comments wants to know if I stayed up past my bedtime. Yup. Spencer, how late did you make it? Well, wait. Let's start over. You were already burning the midnight oil last night. When did you get back? Did you get home from Arrowhead before the World Series game ended?
I'll preface this. I walked out of the press box at 12:05, hit the elevator, got outside at like 12:10.
A slow elevator.
Well, by the time I got, I had to wait for somebody. There was somebody going down, coming up, whatever.
Yeah, they're not working as quickly at night. When the game's over. No.
And I decided, I guess I pulled in the wrong lane when I got there, so I parked way further back than I had wanted to park. So I couldn't even figure out where I was in the trash-filled parking lots of Arrowhead. I kept walking, and then finally I got middle of the first parking lot, and I pressed my panic button on my car, and I found it.
Oh, always a relief.
Got there. I would have gotten home sooner, but right when you get into Kansas, over the river, there was construction going on, so they were one lane in it. So I was just past that. I got an ESPN notification on my phone. It popped up. It said, like, 14th inning or whatever. So I pulled the audio up of the game, and I was listening as I was driving home, listening to the audio from YouTube TV through my car speakers. They ran out of commercials. They were just running Fox ads, like Fox promos at one point.
I remember that from 2019 when they had the 18-inning game, and I was also a YouTube TV subscriber at the time. And I do remember seeing a lot of ads for like Mom and Last Man Standing.
There was one for it's the new Fox streaming. I don't know what it is, whatever their new streaming is. They have a prank show or something, scam show where they catch scammers.
Yeah, the scam.
That, and then the promo for their lineup on FS1 kept. It was those two every commercial break.
That is the most that officially the most and the longest that anybody has been able to tolerate watching Wake Up Barstool.
Yeah. But I got home at like 1:40, 1:35-ish. I made my lunch for the next morning because I knew knew we were going to be, it was late. So got upstairs, was actually brushing my teeth, and I wasn't paying attention because, at every point it was like, oh, he struck him out. Oh, he grounded into a double play or, whatever. Because that was I heard the double play as I was pulling in, the first double play at that point. I initially missed the homer.
That's tough.
I finished brushing my teeth, put everything back down. I'm getting ready to grab my phone, shut off the light. And I just see Freddie Freeman celebrating at home.
So yeah, you did stay up late enough, but certainly you had the excuse of you were working.
Yes.
We'll get back to Game 3 of the World Series. I want to talk about that later on because there's a lot to digest from that.
There is.
But You said that you walked out of the press box, which is a huge relief to me that you were not physically escorted, dragged from the press box, kicking and screaming, press credentials removed, never invited back ever again. That is a relief. I am happy to hear that. Tell us, the interested souls, most people who are listening are never going to be able to sit in a press box and cover a game. And even more people are not going to have the experience of doing so while the team you are covering is playing the team you have loved since you were a child. And that is a very different experience than just going and seeing them play like the Bears.
Yeah, like I did in the
right. It's a very different deal. So how did you handle the night? Because when we were talking off the air, over the weekend, you said it would feel different if Jayden Daniels was going to play, because then you would have expectations for the game. And if they were not met, you would feel disappointment. You had no expectations last night, and the Commanders met your expectations that they would lose.
Well, so the first half there was like a chance. The window was open, right?
Sure.
The entire first half, the window was open.
Sure.
And I could, every commercial break after I hit send on that X post, I had to get up and walk around. I couldn't sit there during the commercial breaks and just go on my X and just look at stuff. Because all the people posting on my X account, most of them were sitting to my left above me.
Okay.
So all the beat reporters and everybody that I follow for the Commanders were, so I had to get up and walk around. I probably went to the bathroom 5 times yesterday during the first half because I drank so much water. I was just like, I literally could not sit down because I was like, there is like a possibility where the Commanders could go into halftime, at least in the first quarter, there was multiple they could go up 7-0.
Take an early lead, yeah.
They could go up 10-7.
Yeah.
If they would have taken the point. So the biggest thing that happened to me where I almost did something.
Outed yourself, yeah.
Yeah. They got down there it was, they were down as a 4th down. They went for it, and Dan Quinn likes to go for it. But man, I just said, take the points out loud. And I was like, dang it.
Yeah, you got to get that Sato indoor voice, right?
Yeah.
But so the Chiefs did win the game, 28-7, the final score. And I want to talk about Mahomes in particular, because it's a weird thing to be so enamored with the performance of a quarterback who threw 2 interceptions. The one to Lattimore is the only one of the 4 he's thrown all season that's really been his fault. But
I didn't even think that was a pick.
It was a great play.
You couldn't, from our angle in the press box, you couldn't see it. I thought he had just pushed it out of bounds or something. And then I saw everybody come around him. I said, "Oh, it's an interception."
Yeah, it was a great play.
Pat threw a pick?
Yeah, it is. It's jarring because that's the first one all year that was his bad, right? Like the other 3 he's thrown now, he's got 4 in 8 games, and the other 3 hit a receiver in the hands and happened to bounce kindly. Well, no, that's a lie. I'm forgetting about the pick six he threw to Devin Lloyd in the Jags game. Yeah. So he's got 2 that have hit a receiver in the hands. And 2 that have
hit Kelsey in the hand specifically.
2 that have been his fault. And one was, a quick throw and he didn't see the dropping linebacker. That was more about the backer making a play than Mahomes having a bad throw. That was the first one. I still stand by this. This is the first one that was really like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you throwing a back shoulder fade sideline ball to Hollywood Brown? This is a wrong guy to throw that ball to. And Lattimore picked it off, made a great play. But other than first 2 drives, both ended in interception, which is the first time that had happened in Patrick Mahomes' career. I thought other than that, he was ridiculously good.
Yeah.
The way he moved the pocket, the way he manipulated Washington's zone defense, it wasn't that he was just had one guy who had big plays. Everybody contributed in the passing game who was out there. Juju had a big catch. Noah Gray had a big catch. Kelsey almost got to 100 yards.
Then
Rice almost got to 100 yards.
Noah Gray contributed in a way you wouldn't think he would because, unfortunately, the ball got tipped, but it was barely got tipped just behind him. And I think it was Noah Gray. And then they got a late hit.
Yeah. So
that turned into 15 free yards.
Yeah, that happened as well. I thought that Mahomes, particularly in the second half, was as good as he's been all season. I think he's been MVP good for the better part of 2020 in the second half for 210 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Mahomes has put up good numbers all season, MVP numbers, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But last night felt the most like a Mahomes game, like the kind of game where the next day you're telling your buddies, hey, man, if you didn't see Mahomes last night, you missed out. He made so many plays last night. Talking about, oh, that's one of the great plays of his career. How did he do that? That was remarkable. And for Mahomes, regular primetime Mahomes, regular Monday for old Patty primetime. My favorite play. I'll ask what your favorite play was, and I want to hear what your favorite Mahomes play last night was. 785-272-9429, the text line, or in the YouTube chat. My favorite play last night was the throw to Gray, where the pocket broke down and Mahomes scrambled left, and he's kind of fading back to his left, and he's looking across the field and looks it with touch to Noah Gray, who had gone with Mahomes all the way across the field. Like, we talked about Rashee Rice learning how to do the Travis Kelce Jedi mind tricks, showing up in exactly the right spot in the throwing window so that Mahomes knows where to find him and sustain a drive and get the ball out against pressure. It feels like everybody in this receiving group knows those tricks. And like Juju's finding space in his zone. Noah Gray's finding space in his zone. So these guys deserve a ton of credit, I think, too. But that was my favorite Mahomes play from last night, my favorite throw. The one to Noah Gray. And again, that's off the wrong foot. That's fading. That's a right-handed quarterback fading to his left, looking off the defense, and a big part of what ended up being the game-killing drive, that 94-yard touchdown drive there at the end. What did you have a play from Mahomes last night that stood out?
Yeah, and I was paying too close attention to Mahomes, just trying to see if he would be able to scramble, and I don't know if the intent of the play was to Kelce, but it was the 1st and 10, just getting into Commander's territory with 12:48 to go in the third. It was a few plays before the Kareem Hunt touchdown that put him up by 7.
Another great play. That was one of those where Mahomes rolled right. Yeah. There was a defender in the area, and that was a damned if you do, damned if you don't for whatever Commander defender was in the area, because if he went with the receiver, Mahomes was going to run it in. And if he went after Mahomes, he did, and you saw what happened there.
Yeah, but the play that I want to spotlight, Kelce, now it was a 1st and 10, so I don't know if the play intent was to Kelce or it just happened to be he, blocked his man and he floated out. But they had that little like wheel route that Kelce wasn't doing anything. He was just standing there. Mahomes was like deep in the pocket at his own 45, and Kelce's just straight up standing there, and Daron Payne moves off him, and Percy Butler tries to go after Mahomes, and Kelce floats out there. 29-year-old Kelce would have taken that 48 yards for a score.
Probably.
But he could not get around Sanderskill.
So that was a play that you talk about the mind trick.
Yeah.
And being on the same wavelength. Kelce was never supposed to run a route on that play. I forget if it was.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I thought he was just blocking that play because it was first down.
Yeah, he was staying in a block. The play broke down, and he just kind of ran what ended up looking like a deep over and got behind the defense. And Mahomes is always looking for 87, and he found him. And I thought it was so funny how Kelce put his head down to sprint, because that's how he has to get the top speed now. He can't just do it effortlessly like he used to. He put his head down, charging forward those first couple of steps, which I thought was really, really funny.
It's funny to watch, though, when you go back and watch this play. Jalen Moore forced Martin out, and then Martin was trying to decide if he wanted to pull back and cover Pacheco.
Mm-hmm.
So Moore is all the way outside, like outside the numbers. Creed is the only man blocking anybody, along with, I guess, Caliendo. And then Kingsley Suamataia comes out and pushes Butler. Butler then realizes, I'm going to go after Mahomes after that. And then Kelce's just wide open you know what, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna bail you out, buddy.
And that's what Mahomes' scrambling ability does to a defense, because it did. They kind of looked like they were all sort of in stasis. They didn't exactly know what to do. Do we go after him? Do we protect the flats? Do we got to keep our rush lane integrity here?
What I was trying to figure out if it was like initially on the play, I didn't see if it was Noah Gray on the field or it was Travis Kelce. And then I was like, well, I think it's Kelce because he's just standing up, and let's see if he does anything. And then Mahomes didn't even need to buy time. He was literally standing straight up in the pocket. Like, it's just a bizarre play to me. And I think it just goes to show how bad the Commanders' defensive line is right now, is that they can't get any pressure.
Yeah, Jacob Martin had a good game last night, but other than that, yeah, it was a night where
it's the battle of the old heads. Von Miller.
Yeah, they didn't generate a whole lot. Want to go back to Kelce real quick? Here he is at 36, leading the Chiefs in receptions with 37 and yards with 474, and not just putting up elite numbers for a tight end by volume, which was kind of the case for him last year. Like, whoa, he caught 97 passes last season. 823 yards. Those are still top 5 numbers for a tight end in the league. Well, yeah, but like, those aren't Travis Kelce numbers. Those aren't the kind of numbers that he put up for all those years that are going to get him to Canton as soon as he's eligible. It made him a 4-time first-team All-Pro. These numbers this year are. We talked about his numbers after the Las Vegas game. So we talked about him about a week ago. And now, after last night's 6-catch, 99-yard performance, he's got his best yards per reception right now, 12.8 yards per reception, since 2020, which, I don't know. It's tough. Like, do you like the 2020 Kelce or the 2022 Kelce season better? I think you can argue for either one. Both of those are his 2 best years, I think, by far. It's his highest number since the 2020 season in terms of yards per reception. Success rate per reception, 71%. That's the highest of his career. Catch percentage, he is catching 77.1% of his targets. That is a career high. Yards per target, 9.9 yards per target. That matches a career high that he set all the way back when he was a young Thundercat back in 2014 when he was 25. So it doesn't look the same because the speed isn't there, like that close range. That's not quite what I want to say, but the maneuverability in tight space that he always had, that ability to make guys miss in a closet, he doesn't have that anymore. But he's still got the brain. He still has that understanding, that connection with Mahomes, and that ability to work his way where the defense can't find him. And I don't think it's a coincidence that he had a game like that with Rashee Rice back in the fold, because for the first time since the Tyreek Hill trade, Travis Kelce is not, I think, the primary focal point, 1, of the Chiefs passing game, but 2, of the opposing defense. The offense now runs through Rashee Rice in a way that we only just saw it scratch the surface of the first 3 games of 2024. Now that we're seeing the offense flow through Rice, it creates more space for Kelce to do his thing and have that mind meld with Mahomes. And if he just stopped every 6 weeks batting a perfectly thrown ball into the hands of a defensive player, I think we'd have very little to complain about when it comes to number 87. It's remarkable to see him playing this well. Hand up, I didn't think he had this in him. I thought when he came back, we would see a further diminished version of what we saw even last year from Travis Kelce. That is not what we are seeing. When he said on all those podcasts that he does with his brother and all those interviews he did over the summer, when he said, I ain't going out like that, he meant it, because he has come out, he has meant business, he has thrived in the role he's in now, where he is, again, for the first time since 2021, he is not the focal point of the Chiefs passing game. And he was the focal point in 2022, but he was good enough at age 33 to catch 110 balls for 1,300 yards and 12 touchdowns. Like, that was still prime Travis Kelce. But even this athletically diminished version is not in any way diminished. It is knowledge of the game, knowledge of the offense, and knowledge in how to play alongside the best quarterback in the game. And the results are pretty cool to see.
I think, too, with everybody back, I don't think there's any pressure, man. Like, I think last year, and I think the last couple years, there's been it's the mounting of pressure, right? Like, the Chiefs have the worst passing offense, or
the worst wide receivers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I've got to be the best, but I'm starting to wind down my career. Why do I have to still be the best? And then it's the compounding of pressure. And hey, guess what? Then he goes out and he, last summer, or summer 24 for him, was the summer where he did so much stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Outside of football, after he made the Super Bowl. Well, then he reset this summer, and they went to the Super Bowl. He lost. He had that. We lost. I can't go out on that. I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a mindset, body, and the pressure is just off of him now that everybody's back.
We'll take a break here on 580 Sports Talk. We'll come back with What Is Wrong With You. Michael Swain of Fog.net going to join us in about 10 minutes. 580 Sports Talk continues after this on 580 WIBW. It is What Is Wrong With You time on 580 Sports Talk. Two new stories competing today. Our current champion, give my kid a snack or I will attack. A parent who threatened the school, threatened he was going to shoot up his kid's school because they didn't give him a snack. Even though There was no designated snack time for whatever grade level his child was attending. And they took the threat seriously enough. They went and searched his house. They had a bunch of ammunition that he's not supposed to have because he is a previously convicted felon. So, bad idea all the way around. 2 news stories today. I will go first. We go to Scottsdale, Arizona, where 2 suspects are on the loose after allegedly breaking into a popular restaurant in Old Town Scottsdale Saturday morning. You ever been to Scottsdale, Arizona?
No, never been to Arizona.
Wild time. Around 10 a.m. Saturday, police responded to a delayed burglary call at Mon Cherie. The restaurant first went viral on social media for its iconic pink pasta. What?
Interesting.
That's what is wrong with you. I don't want to eat pink pasta. Get out of my face. I want to eat pasta that looks like Pepto-Bismol. What are we doing here? I barely like white sauce on pasta. We turn it pink? Anyway, they got that. Good for them. Police say the burglary happened around 3:50 a.m. A man and a woman were seen on camera forcing their way into the restaurant before taking some items. The man and the woman stole $450, liquor, and the restaurant's host phone, and then went to the restaurant's patio area to have sex.
What?
That was also caught on the surveillance video. Bizarre, violating, just really weird, said Bailey Turner, the assistant general manager at Mon Cherie. Employees say the suspects had sex inside a rose display that's a popular photo op. Customers were snapping pictures inside the same display on Sunday. Nah, man, you got to close that down.
Yeah.
Found humor in the incident, but were also shocked. We pulled up the surveillance and we were disturbed. Who would do that? That's just gross. We don't want that here, said Caitlin Sorensen, the server lead. So, yeah, went and did a crime and had a good time.
Yeah.
Don't do the crime without sexy time. Yeah, that's that story. All right, what do you got today?
Yeah, we're gonna go to Monroe, Louisiana. A man has been arrested on 49 counts in connection to insurance fraud schemes involving staged crashes. Adrian Sampson, 21 of Monroe, was arrested for 16 counts of insurance fraud, 16 counts of aggravated criminal damage to property, 16 counts of staging a motor vehicle collision, and 1 count of racketeering. Louisiana State Police received complaints alleging that Sampson committed insurance fraud in February 2025. As the investigation progressed, officials say they learned Sampson was involved in multiple crashes from May 2024 to September of 2025, just a month ago. Officials say that Sampson had planned, staged, and orchestrated crashes to file fraudulent insurance claims for personal gain. Authorities said Sampson potentially gained approximately $156,000 from his victims of fraudulent claims. On Friday, October 24th, he was taken into custody in Bosser City on a warrant for his arrest. He is currently being held in the city jail. The investigation remains ongoing.
I think it's Bossier City, but neither here nor there. It's a lot of staged crashes.
156 grand.
That's a lot of work. That's a lot of staged 16 crashes for $156,000. To me, that juice is not worth the squeeze.
Yeah,
I would need more per. I would need at least 10 grand per insurance fraud. If it were me, my price is a little higher than that. Anyway, I'm going to go with law breaking and love making.
Yeah,
that's going to be what I call, and I think that wins the week. I'm going to put that ahead of the give my kid a snack or I'll attack. Just a more fun story. The frisky thieves from Scottsdale who took money and liquor and then befouled the patio. So I think that's going to be our winner. Law breaking and love making. That is our winner. Also sounds like a really cool album title from like hair metal in the 1980s. Like a Striper album could have been called Law Breaking and Love Making. A Warrant album.
Jeez.
Yeah. Anyway, that's going to be our new winner moving forward tomorrow on What Is Wrong With You. We will take a break here on 580 Sports Talk. When we come back, Michael Swain of Fog.net joins us to talk all things Jayhawks. It's Jayhawk Weekly, and it's next on 580 Sports Talk. We are joined in the Flooding Place Wine and Spirits hotline by Michael Swain of Fog.net, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. He joins us every Tuesday here on the program for Jayhawk Weekly. Go check out Michael's coverage of the Jayhawks at Fog.net. Become a 24/7 Sports VIP subscriber to get all the inside info. Michael, we'll start on the gridiron. 17 in a row now in the L column for the Jayhawks in the Sunflower Showdown. What went most wrong for the Jayhawks in that 42-17 loss to the Wildcats?
What went most wrong? Everything. Outside of the first, 5 minutes of like real time of the game. Man, that was probably about as bad as we've seen KU play for 4 quarters this season, I think. And man, in terms of like overall loss, like it is up there for like the most maybe disappointing or embarrassing loss that KU's had under Leipold, I think. You can look at it offensively. Obviously, for so long, KU's offense has been consistent. But man, this is really the first year where you look at it, and it has been so inconsistent. Where there are periods of a game where it looks like, oh my gosh, this looks like what we've seen from KU's offense over time, right? You can look at the long drive at the end of the first half where KU controls the clock. Like, hey, we've seen that from KU before. But then you go in the second half, and man, the offense could do nothing. And this is 3 games now where KU's offense has really struggled in the second half. And you can go back since the UCF game, KU has 1 touchdown in the second half. And that's just not good enough. And obviously the defense has to be better than in and of itself, where you can look at the first drive that, the K-State offense had. And what happens? Well, they go 75 yards in 6 plays. Like, it's just one of those where the defense put up no resistance. Sure, yes, the KU is more gaps down. They fix some of the run defense issues, but this is a K-State team that has really struggled to run the ball consistently. And so I don't know how much you want to call it a victory lap or anything for KU's defense stopping the run. And then obviously, there's the pass plays and what Avery Johnson was able to do. I think the most concerning thing if you're a KU fan right now is the fact that every week teams are gashing KU in different ways. And Lance Leipold said they were expecting a lot of deep throws, and that's what happened, and yet they couldn't stop it. Like, that is a very concerning sign for me, the fact that KU knew what was coming and they still couldn't stop it. So overall, you look at it, like, everything went wrong. Offense wasn't good enough. Defense wasn't good enough. And it was just a major struggle for a team off a bye week, and that's just incredibly, I think, disappointing if you're looking at this from a KU perspective.
Was that as pointed and perhaps as disappointed as you've heard Lance Leipold in a post-game press conference?
Oh, God, no. No. Last year, we could go Arizona State last year. I don't know if he looked up from his paper once while I was there in person. You can go K-State last year. No, that was not as down as we've seen him as KU's head coach. I think this year he has been much better, I think, in those settings after losses, where I think last year you definitely could kind of see the losses wearing on him. So I think definitely a different feel after this one, but still you could definitely get the vibe that he was very disappointed in the way his team performed.
We're talking to Michael Swain of Fog.net, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. This is Jayhawk Weekly on 580 Sports Talk. This seems like a really good time to be playing Oklahoma State for Kansas. Like, this is an opportune time to have a get-right game against a struggling opponent, and that's putting it mildly when you're talking about the 1-7 Cowboys. What is going to be most telling to you as far as how well K-State bounces back from this loss? Because they still have, the possibility of bowl eligibility is still very much in front of them. They still got some opportunities out there. What will you be looking for to determine whether their performance against Oklahoma State, assuming they can win this game, and they'll be heavily favored to do so, that their performance is a real step forward and not just a dead cat bounce against a bad team?
Yeah, it's going to be hard to read into this one because you're right, Oklahoma State stinks. And I think for KU, this is a game where they need to come out, get up 14-0 early, and just have a butt kicking where there isn't something you're talking about post-game of an interception from Jalen, a busted coverage defensively, Oklahoma State having a quarter where they look competent. You look at Oklahoma State and obviously their defense, their run defense has gotten a lot better, and Clint Bowen's done a nice job, honestly, since taking over as a defensive coordinator. And then you look at the offense and the quarterback situation. It sounds like they may get Zane Flores back this week, which would make it where they are actually playing a quarterback and not a converted wide receiver. So I think for KU, like, it's just one of those where KU's better. Oklahoma State has done some halfway decent things, but at the end of the day, they've been losing. I think since Gundy got fired, they're averaging a margin of defeat of like 28.5. I want to say it is. Like, they're getting their butt kicked. And so KU needs to go out and win the game. And I think if they go out and cover the spread in this one, which I think is 24 right now, like, you feel very good about what KU showed in the game to win a Big 12 contest by that margin. And if they do that, you feel better. And then it comes down to a real test in Arizona on the road.
Off the field, J.J. Dunnigan, the standout from Manhattan High, decommitted from Kansas on Monday. He had been the highest rated prospect for KU in their 2026 class, according to 24/7 Sports. Was that a commitment that felt tenuous all along, or were there some recent developments that have led him to, at least for the time being, step aside from the Jayhawk commitment list?
It's a good question. So I think by saying it doesn't have much to do with KU losing to K-State and the performance on Saturday. This is something that I think if you want to, I'll give you the full story here. So basically go back to January when J.J. Dunnigan commits, and kind of the vibe around the industry, just people in the know around the recruiting world are kind of like, okay, he's committing to KU, but KU's going to have to really work to keep him through National Signing Day. Obviously now these days, right, revenue sharing offers are a thing, right? KU, K-State, Iowa State, Missouri, everyone's doing it, right? The kids that are committed have revenue sharing offers on the table for them. So obviously KU's had a very competitive offer at the beginning, and KU's worked really hard to keep him. And obviously he had the official visit over the summer. He's been to campus more times than I could recount off the top of my head. And as this fall has gone on, some of those things that I think people had concerns about early, aka other teams coming in and KU having to really work to keep him in the class, proved to be true. You know, Miami's a school that's been on for a little while, and finally I think some things maybe got formalized on Miami's end, and that changed the picture where, look, you're talking about a top 10 program that is not shy about spending money. And if they come in and go above an offer that KU's had with Dunnigan, you know, and, you know, they're right to go back and say, hey, this is what we had. Would you be willing to offer? And KU's ever right to say no, like, we're at the number we're comfortable with. And so I think some things there led to a parting of the ways. And so we'll see what happens. It's interesting, you know. He's going to go visit Colorado too, a team that is much worse than Kansas this year and has been wholly more competitive than KU, which I think is kind of interesting. But then he'll go see Miami next month. And so it's one of those where, man, he's a really good player. Whoever's getting him is getting a super talented player and someone that I think has, you know, NFL upside in the end. But it's one of those where for KU, you can't go and go above what you're willing to go numbers-wise, because as soon as that happens, other people in the locker room hear about it. What happens with them? They're going to come back with their hand out as well. You can think about other recruits. Like, it's just one of those things you don't want to start that chain reaction. And so it's one of those where he's going to go somewhere else, and it's a huge bummer for KU, but it's not something that I think has a huge bearing or is a huge reflection of Saturday's football game.
Michael Swain is our guest, joining us for Jayhawk Weekly here on 580 Sports Talk on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. Michael of Fog.net, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. Let's talk about fun stuff. Let's talk about Darren Peterson. That was auspicious. His first half in a KU uniform that we got to see against Louisville. Unfortunately, the second half cut short a little bit by cramps, but those first 20 minutes, that was the prince who was promised, wasn't it?
Oh man, was it ever? Was it ever? And he didn't even play like all, you know, the entire first half. Like, you know, it was one of those where he sat for a little bit after I think he took a shot to the throat or something like that. I can't remember exactly where it happened, but man, he looked like the real deal. Like, he really did. And look, he's not going to shoot 6 of 10 from 3 consistently. Like, that's something that the barrages are going to come this year. And those are the games where Darren's going to go nuclear. He's going to drop 30, 35 points. And we're all going to sit here talking about how great he is. What I think is really cool is that he's got the ability to do different things. And you saw some of that in the game, but I think you'll see more of it in a game like tonight against Fort Hays State, where he's more of a setup man, a guy that creates for others. And that's what I love about what he showed against Louisville, is the fact that it was a scoring game for him. He came out, he was hot. He decided, okay, this is a game where I'm going to score. And he did it at a high level. And then obviously KU missed him a little bit in the second half, but I think that was about as good as you could have hoped Darren Peterson could look in a debut.
Aside from Bucket Jones, who were you most impressed with in that exhibition opener at Louisville on Friday night?
Man, Bryson Tiller looks great for someone that's not played competitive basketball in a long time. Like, you got to think about him, right? It was not this past summer, the summer before that he suffered the ankle injury that really kept him out for most of last year. So this was the first time he's played a competitive game in over a year. And man, I thought he looked really good. Physical player, got all the tools. The key for him is just playing to his size. And that's something he's not always done in practice, but it's something that if he does that consistently, in games going forward, man, like he's going to help his draft stock. He's going to have a long future of basketball ahead of him because he's got just the natural skill you want from the position, but he's also got that just the size that if he plays to, he can do so much. And I think the fact that he played with Flory and that lineup looked halfway decent, that's super encouraging. And so I thought he was great. Look, Melvin Council didn't make shots, but what you saw from him is effort, intensity, drive on both ends before, where he was getting to the rim, he's getting after it defensively. I liked what I saw from him, even if the shots didn't go down. So those are two players I think that, from my perspective at least, like I left the game thinking, man, that was a good start to the unofficial year for them.
We're joined by Michael Swain of Fog.net and 24/7 Sports here on 580 Sports Talk. And you mentioned some players there, but what did you make of Elmarko Jackson for his kind of first time back on the court after the injury he went through last year?
Yeah, I thought really solid. I thought it was interesting. Bill Self mentioned that he felt like Elmarko was playing more decisive in that game, because if we remember back to his freshman season, he was a very indecisive player. You could see the wheels turning, and something he talked about during the redshirt season was the fact that he really worked on his decision making and trying to be a faster processor of the game. And I think that showed up a little bit against Louisville. Now, he's someone that I think just consistency is going to be the biggest key for him, right? Can he do that consistently? When games get sped up, can he slow it down and not get sped up with it? And then he's going to have to knock down shots from the outside. Like, you can't go out there and have a backcourt of Elmarko and Melvin Council and then have a too big front court of like a Bryson Tiller and Flory. Like, Elmarko's got to be a guy that's got to make some outside shots for KU. But I think for just like Bryson, like to go out in your first game in over a year and look like that, it's encouraging. And so obviously now the key is going to be building on it.
Tonight, exhibition game, Fort Hays State. What do you think, or what are you looking for from this team to take away? Obviously, it's against a Division II opponent, but what do you think, Bill Self, and what are you looking for from KU in this contest?
Yeah, I think this is a game for KU where you just more continuity, right? Guys playing together, different lineup combinations. Obviously, I don't think Fort Hays State's going to be able to really push KU, and they're not going to have the guys to really guard KU one-on-one. So this is a game where you look for continuity, right? The patterns of play, guys being in the right spots. I look at some of the end of the bench guys. Hey, Smeeze Calderon, can you go out there and just do some athletic stuff? Paul Mbia, can you look a little bit more at home? I thought he looked raw against Louisville, but he's someone that, I think KU's going to need this year. So I think this is more of a game for those tertiary players. I don't care what Darren Peterson does tonight. I really don't. This is a game that's going to be much more about a team continuing to get reps together, getting some live action. And I think some of those end of the bench guys getting some run, starting to feel maybe a little more comfortable.
Michael Swain covers the Kansas Jayhawks at Fog.net, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. Become a VIP subscriber today. It is well worth it. You get all of Michael's inside information on the Jayhawks, on the gridiron and the hardwood. He joins us every Tuesday here on 580 Sports Talk for Jayhawk Weekly. Michael, always a pleasure. We'll do it again next week.
Awesome. Sounds great. Talk to you guys next week.
That is Michael Swain. We'll step aside for a timeout, come back, and wrap up this 4 o'clock hour with some Random Question Tuesday on 580 Sports Talk. 580 Sports Talk, wrapping up this 4 o'clock hour with a little random question Tuesday. Here is my random question. What is the worst or most harrowing press box experience you've ever had? I have 2. I'll give you mine real quick.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, so I'll give you my 2 examples.
Okay.
Number 1, doing a high school football playoff game at Cessna Stadium in Wichita. I think that press box is haunted. We went up there and we could not get an internet connection to broadcast the game. We had to do it on a cell phone, like passing the cell phone back and forth between me and my broadcast partner, because we could not, it did not let us connect to the internet. We had no problems anywhere else we went with our equipment except up there. Also, I think it took the elevator 15 minutes to get to the top of the press box, which Cessna Stadium, very steep, double tiered stand there at the old Cessna Stadium in Wichita. So that was not great. Also, the elevator up to the press box at War Memorial Stadium in Laramie, horrifying. It was loud. It was creaky. It was slow. I briefly thought I was stuck getting up to the press box. I covered a couple of Wyoming football games at my first job. That was a very unpleasant press box experience. Just getting to it was very unpleasant.
Yeah, I think this D2 Millersville in Pennsylvania, I think is the school. Their press box, it's literally there's like one small room and it's just for the scoreboard and the PA where they originate from. So there's literally, they put a mic cable and out because only one person could fit in there. And then the rest are just under like tent topped bleachers. And it was storming.
Oh no.
And compiling on top of that, they have our Army ROTC does the boom, boom, boom off they fire blanks. Well, when you're sitting on the metal bleachers, the whole thing is shaking.
Oh, jeez. I'll give you one other one from college, broadcasting a college baseball game at Hendrix College in Conway, Arkansas, when a bunch of termites came streaming out of the wooden press box wall about the 3rd inning of the baseball game I was doing. And that was horrifying.
I got a quick random question for you.
Give it to me.
Best press box food, no matter if it's the meal or secondary snack later, because nothing beats chicken tendies and hot dogs at a halftime.
Listen, I love a press box hot dog, Kauffman Stadium on the roller. There nothing beats that. But I will say this, and I will contend this, that I don't know who's doing it better than the Derby Dining folks. The Dev Nelson press box at Kansas State, Bill Snyder Family Stadium. They have never missed. Not one time have they ever missed. It's always good. So I got to shout out the Derby Dining folks. They got it on lockdown. We got one more hour. 580 Sports Talk headlines, talking that Wild World Series game last night, and more thoughts on the Chiefs. Injury trouble, maybe. 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Hour number 3, 580 Sports Talk. It's our final hour together on this Tuesday. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis with you here on the Sports Voice of Kansas. 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. Like and subscribe if you have not already. And our Facebook page, WIBW News. Thanks for being a part of the show today on this Victory Tuesday. Chiefs were 28-7 winners over the Commanders last night, in case you missed it. How about this stat? The Chiefs have more wins by 13 or more points, which 2 touchdown wins, basically. The Chiefs have more wins by 13-plus points in their last 6 games of this season than they had all of last year and all of 2023. They only won 3 games by 13 or more in 2024. They won 4 games by 13 or more in 2023. They have won all 5 of their games this season by 13 plus.
That's crazy.
So that is a stretch of play that suggests, like, if you're winning an NFL game by 2 touchdowns, you kick some tail. Like, you handled your business. If you are winning games by 2 touchdowns, you're winning games by double digits. This is a league where it's hard to do that. And a lot of games come down to 1 score, 1 possession. And the Chiefs have just said, well, what if they didn't? What if we took the drama out of it? What if we gave our defenders the last series of the game off the last couple of weeks? Chris Jones only played 44 snaps yesterday. I kind of think that's a big deal. We'll explore as we go along further into this week the big matchup at Buffalo this coming Sunday for the Chiefs. But I think that's a big deal that the Chiefs haven't had to overtax some really important players on their defense the last 2 weeks. I don't think Chris Jones had to shower postgame after the Raider game. I mean, those guys barely broke a sweat. And then he played the vast majority of the snaps defensively, but it was only 44 total snaps. So I think that's a benefit. I think that's a hidden benefit for the Chiefs, that they'll be a little bit more rested in some spots than they might otherwise be on a short week. They are a little banged up, though. We'll get into that a little bit later on this hour. Isaiah Pacheco reportedly week to week with an MCL sprain. That almost certainly would keep him out for Sunday. If that is in fact true, I would be really surprised if he makes it to Sunday. What does that mean for the run game? Nick Bolton's got a knee that's going to bear watching throughout this week as they prepare.
So for what it's worth, he spoke to the media at the presser.
Bolton? Yeah.
Yeah.
He went to the podium.
If someone's seriously hurt,
right,
usually that doesn't happen. Also, he didn't. He walked by me, didn't noticeably see anything.
Didn't notice the limp.
For what it's worth, I don't know if he had ice on it though. So
sure. Yeah, I think. I don't remember the play where he got hurt. I remember a play where he got shaken up, but it didn't look like a knee. Like, I remember there was a play where he was slow to get up and stayed in the game, and they kind of spotlighted and they showed him being kind of slow to get up. I didn't think that was a knee, so that must have been on a different play. But it was also like Andy Reid usually starts his post-game press conference with, all right, here's who got hurt. Like, always starts with that. And he forgot to yesterday. And I thought what that meant is that both the injuries to Pacheco and Bolton, just say his name, I thought that meant or indicated that both of those injuries were kind of afterthoughts. And maybe that's not the case for Pacheco because, again, it's being widely reported.
I'm trying. He may have had a brace on last night.
Bolton?
No, Pacheco.
Oh.
I remember seeing Pacheco as he was leaving.
Okay. And it might have braced it. That would make sense. If what they're reporting is he has a sprained ligament, then that would make sense. Because it looked
like his knee was a little bulky. He was wearing pants, but
yeah,
when he was walking out.
So we'll get to some more Chiefs here in just a little bit. And we do have to talk about World Series Game 3 because that is one of those things that everybody is talking about. Game 4 starts in 2 hours. It feels cruel to make them play again today after their game finished.
They played 2 games.
They did. They played 2 games last night. And it wrapped up 1:59 Central Time. They're going to play again at 7:08 or whatever first pitch is Central Time. That is quite the quick turnaround, and it is a series that now is led by the Dodgers 2-1, but maybe a Pyrrhic victory. Who knows for LA? But I do want to talk about that game a little bit because there's a lot to discuss and digest from that game. But we're going to get into our 580 Sports Talk headlines to start this hour. Before we do, want to remind you that the text line is open. 785-272-9429 is the number. 785-272-9429. You can also interact with us in the live chat on our YouTube stream. 580 Sports Talk is the name of the channel. Hop on in the chat, say hello, introduce yourself, talk amongst yourself, and interact with us as we go along today. A text from 785 asking if I made a Sato reference from Karate Kid 2. I can assure you if I did, it was intentional. This or unintentional. But this one is intentional. Your fear make air stink. That's a quote from Sato, Karate Kid 2. Anyway, that was an intentional reference to that character. If I made a previous reference, that was not intentional. But a happy coincidence, perhaps, if it reminded you of one of the cinematic classics in the history of film, Karate Kid 2. Let's do some headlines, shall we? Let's start with some K-State basketball headlines. I'll take the first one. We'll split them down the middle here. K-State women opened their exhibition season last night. They played at Tarleton State and won handily, 78-57, the final score. They made a lot of threes, 14 of them on 32 attempts, which is quite a few. That's how many threes you shoot when you're not really trying to go bang in the post because it's an exhibition game. You're content to stand back and shoot some threes. They got some very capable three-point shooters on Jeff Mitty's roster, as evidenced by the fact that they made 44% of their threes last night. They were 14 of 32. Isela Arenas, 22 points on 8 of 13 shooting, including 5 of 9 from downtown. Stunting like her daddy with a 22-point night to lead the way for K-State. Yes, her father, in case you were not aware, is former NBA star Gilbert Agent Zero Arenas. Tess Heel, the transfer guard from Stanford, had 11 points. Jordan Spicer, the highly touted freshman, chipped in with 10 points. Taryn Sides, close to a triple-double last night. 8 points, 9 boards, and 6 assists for the junior from Phillipsburg. So a good start for the Mitty Cats in an exhibition game, a routine 21-point win. Got to get everybody in, see what they've got, and give themselves an opportunity to get all ready to roll for the start of their season, which I believe, and I'm double checking right now so I don't have to say what I believe, and I can tell you like the facts of the situation. The K-State women's basketball regular season opens in a week. Next Monday, their season opener against the Omaha Mavericks. Game you'll be able to hear right here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. How about you give us the K-State men's basketball headline today?
Yeah, junior guard PJ Haggerty was among 20 preseason candidates for the Jerry West Award, which is given annually to the nation's top shooting guard by the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. The Jerry West Award is named after, obviously, Jerry West, the class of 1980 Hall of Famer and the 1959 NCAA Final Four MVP. It's celebrating its 12th year, highlighting the shooting guard. Haggerty was one of 5 finalists to win the award in 2025, which was won by Tennessee's Chaz Lanier. Fans can help Haggerty advance on the watch list by voting in each of the 3 rounds starting on this Friday at hoophallawards.com. The watch list of 20 players will be narrowed to 10 in late January, then to 5 in late February. The 5 finalists will be presented to West family and the Hall of Fame selection committee, where the winner will be selected. Haggerty was one of 5 Big 12 players in the preseason team, including Arizona's Brandon Burns, BYU's Richie Saunders, Houston's Emmanuel Sharp, and Oklahoma State's Anthony Roy. Also, while we're talking about this, I don't want to mention one for KU women's hoops that is on a watch list. Elle Evans selected the preseason watch list for the Myers Drysdale Award as well.
Oh, very cool.
Did you mention by any chance the other KU woman?
No.
Okay, I'll hit that as well as let's see, where is it? Samaya Nichols was named to the Lieberman Award.
Yeah, that's the National Player of the Year award
Yeah.
watch list.
That's a point guard of the year.
First of all, quick correction. Arizona's Braden Berries, who's a freshman, was on that Jerry West Award preseason watch list. I wonder, maybe some of you caught the irony in this, that the best point guard in America is up for an award for shooting guards.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, you'll recall less than a week ago, Jerome Tang said PJ Haggerty was the best point guard in America, or the best point guard in the country, however he phrased it, at Big 12 Media Days. This award is for shooting guards because that's kind of what Haggerty was last year at Memphis. So it's a tricky thing, right? Like, for a lot of years, you would have considered James Harden to be a shooting guard, but he's so ball dominant, like he's the guy you run the offense through, that functionally that's like a point guard. Like, you don't call Nikola Jokic point guard. He's the center, but you run the offense. The Nuggets run the offense through him.
Yeah.
So K-State's going to run their offense through PJ Haggerty. He's going to be the guy with the ball in his hands for the most part. So whether you call him a shooting guard, point guard, combo guard, it's a bit of a distinction without a difference. I just think it's funny that the best point guard in America is up for an award for shooting guards.
Yeah.
Is he on the watch list for the point guard award? We haven't heard that yet, but stay tuned. He finished top 5 for this award last season, so maybe it's just he got grandfathered in, and he's going to play a different role for K-State this year than he did for Memphis last year. We didn't really get in too deep to the exhibition game that K-State played against Mizzou. It was on past our bedtimes Friday night, so I didn't get to see a ton of it. But no doubt he can get buckets.
Yeah.
The question will be, can he or anybody else on that team defend? That's going to be what K-State's going to have to figure out. And like at the end of the day, and Brendan and I kind of bumped into this yesterday, just talking about it for a little bit. I think Jerome Tang could coach a team to play defense. I would have been concerned if this was a team that could not score, because I think that last year's K-State team couldn't really score. It was really hard for them to put the ball in the basket. It is not going to be hard to put the ball in the basket for this Kansas State team. And the game at the end of the day is about buckets. And they've got in Haggerty, one way or another, whatever you call him, point guard, shooting guard, call him a bucket getter. That's what he is. Can they figure things out on the defensive end? That's going to be the difference between entertaining, but maybe sweating it out on Selection Sunday to safely in the NCAA tournament, at least as far as I'm concerned. Next headline from ESPN.com. Senate committee asks NBA's Silver for details on gambling investigations. The United States Senate committee sent a letter to NBA Commissioner Adam Silver on Monday. I thought they weren't working. I thought things shut down over there. Anyway.
No, they can still work.
They can still work. Just always get paid.
Yeah.
Nobody's getting paid. Saying that last week's federal indictments of Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier, Portland Trailblazers coach Chauncey Billups, and former NBA player and coach Damon Jones were a matter of, quote, congressional concern, and asking for details about the league's approach to investigating potential gambling violations. It's the second letter sent by a congressional committee to the NBA since Rozier, Billups, and Jones were among 34 individuals indicted last week as part of 2 overlapping federal gambling investigations. It was the Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation. It seems like that committee's doing a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot on that committee's plate. They asked the NBA in its letter to provide documentation of its gambling policies and a list of investigations regarding betting. So the whole story with Rozier and Billups and Jones getting arrested by the feds, that broke last week and it was a headline while I was off the show, while I had to be off the show for a couple of days. So I didn't really get a chance to weigh in on this. And it is a really hard thing for sports media to talk about, because sports media is so compromised by gambling. And I'm talking about myself here. Look, I took money from FanDuel to advertise for FanDuel. People will probably remember that when sports betting became legal in Kansas. Jake and I got that FanDuel money. And as a show, we got some of that Prairie Band Sportsbook money last year, doing a segment that was sponsored by them. So, like, some of what funds just us in what capacity we are in has come from legalized sports gambling. It's on a much grander scale when you're talking about like ESPN has a branded sports book, right?
Which comes into a weird play because do you know what the FCC has to approve of them owning part of, or the league owning part of? ESPN,
right?
The
yeah,
NFL,
the NFL, yeah. So it's not just ESPN, not just like legacy media, but it's also a lot of like your favorite podcasters or, you know, people like The Ringer is in bed with DraftKings. Yeah, you know, there's that kind of
it's like all these
relationship. So
all these even different podcasts, like Underdog,
yeah,
fantasy,
yeah,
like that's
like the whole network sponsored by a gambling company.
Yes.
So it is extremely hard for us to talk honestly and say what we want to say necessarily about sports gambling, because I am of the belief that sports gambling is a little bit like advertising alcohol. I think people who enjoy alcohol responsibly ought to be able to enjoy alcohol responsibly. And I think people that bet on sports responsibly ought to be able to bet on sports responsibly. There's a big problem. There's a lot of people that aren't real responsible when it comes to sports gambling in particular. And it's really hard because at least with alcohol, you have to go to the store and get it, right?
Yeah.
You have to go to the store. And it used to be for sports betting, like if you want to place a sports bet, you go to the casino, you go to the book, you walk to the table, cash in hand. I would like to bet this $20 on the Commanders to cover the spread because Spencer Dupuis told me they were going to do it. And then you take your winnings at the end of the night and you go home happy.
Or
you get some Chili's money.
You take your loss.
Or last night, yeah, you take your loss. Anyway.
And you take your loss.
But like you have to make that conscious effort to do it. It's so much easier to get people addicted when the casino's in their pocket, when the casino's when it's the phone.
Yeah.
And between that and the ability to make deposits into your sportsbook account with your credit card, that's not good. And then you have as we've come to learn, fairly easily manipulated player prop market, which, first of all, like, I would think any amount of betting on a Terry Rozier under should get you like federally prosecuted. Like if you put $5 on a Terry Rozier player prop, like something's up. Like you have to know something. That's a stupid thing to bet on. But that's where all of these scandals that we're seeing at the professional sports level, Jonte Porter getting kicked out of the NBA for life, Rozier, you're seeing those two in particular say, oh, hey, I'm going to take myself out of this game early. So bet all my unders, bet my under points, bet my under rebounds, all that stuff. And the regulation of legalized sports gambling enables that to get flagged and to get caught and to get people in real trouble, have real consequences for this manipulation of a sporting event, this manipulation of the betting markets. But there's a much easier way to go about making sure that this manipulation of the market stops happening. Just got to get rid of player props. Those have to go. And I think the leagues need to understand it. And I've said this before, the sooner the leagues realize it and get together and pressure their gambling partners, hey, look, we will continue to work with you, but the integrity of our games is at stake and in question. And the biggest reason for that right now is the proliferation of these player props. And the gambling houses, of course, are going to dig in and say, well, that's how we're making all our money, because we're convincing idiot 21-year-olds with credit cards to place 10-leg same-game parlays every night. You notice that's what they advertise, right? Like all the ads for DraftKings and FanDuel, they're all for same-game parlays. You know why? Because those don't win. Higher odds means you have a less chance of winning. And yeah, it's awesome to hit a same game parlay. I've hit a couple in my life and it feels great. It does. Like I'm not sitting here and I'm going to moralize against gambling. I've had fun doing it. I have. But there are a lot of people who aren't real responsible, and it's irresponsible problem gamblers, addicts, and it's also people who, like Jonte Porter, and now it's being revealed today, Terry Rozier, who are in debt and need to pay off a debt and think they can get out of their debt with some people that you don't want to be in debt to by taking yourself out of a game early so somebody can make $100,000 on your under points or your under rebounds. So those are the problem bets. And those are the ones that I think if you're going to have responsible sports gambling for the long haul, this is going to be a relationship for the long haul, and it's so profitable for the sports leagues that it's going to be for the long haul. That's the kind of thing that I think there needs to be some intervention. Maybe you can only bet overs. Maybe you can only bet like touchdown props or things like that, or you can only bet like the 10 plus points or 20 plus points. Like there's a way around this where you're not manipulating the markets by betting unders and cashing in because you have inside information. But something has to change. Something has to change, because if the pro sports leagues and college leagues, if you lose the integrity of the competition, and it is very much at risk with how much gambling has been let in the front door now, if you lose the integrity of the competition, you don't have a sports league. You do not have something that people will invest time and money and respect into. And it's an existential threat, truly, to the business of professional sports. Give me another headline, Spencer. We got some NFL headline hodgepodge. Give it to me.
Yeah, we do. The Saints are doing it. They're pulling the plug on Spencer Rattler. He's been benched. They're going to turn to Tyler Shuck.
So let me point out real quick that Ian Rappaport posted this. I think he was the first one to the news. And he said, the future is now. The Saints are benching Spencer Rattler and will start rookie quarterback Tyler Shuck this coming week for the Saints. The future is now. Yes, the future is now, because the Saints are benching their 25-year-old second-year starting quarterback for their 26-year-old rookie quarterback. The future is now. They're going to an older guy, just like the future is now in Cincinnati with the Bengals traded for Joe Flacco. It's the same thing. Anyway, continue. Because some good injury news for a couple of injured quarterbacks.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson, who was subject to some interesting stuff over the weekend or prior to their game because of the reporting on the injury report, which was John Harbaugh said was a mistake. He practiced, but he didn't really practice with the ones. He was practicing with the scout team. So that's what everyone was, it said full practice, but he practiced with the scout team and led the media to expect him to go. He obviously didn't go. Also, Jaden Daniels, or Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels are both trending towards playing this week, as it kind of looked like that for a while for Daniels, that he was going to miss the Chiefs game and then be good the next week.
We talked to Matt Verderame about this on yesterday's show. I kind of feel like the Ravens can still win their division. They get Lamar back healthy. They got problems on defense, but Cincinnati's not good and Pittsburgh's not good. Can Baltimore? They're 2-5 right now. Can they get to 9-8? Because I think they can get to 9-8, and I think that might win the division.
Yeah, maybe,
or at the very least tie. So I wouldn't rule Baltimore out in the AFC North just yet. I'm going to need the playoff roundup sounder. We're gonna do it because it's what we do, and then we're going to take a break and talk about this,
and then break it down in depth.
Yes, we're going to go in depth a little bit, but yeah, hit me with the playoff roundup sounder, please. There it is.
It's time for the 580 Sports Talk Playoff Roundup.
Freddie Freeman with a walk-off home run in the 18th inning last night with a 6-5 win for the Los Angeles Dodgers, giving them a 2-1 World Series lead over the Toronto Blue Jays. Game lasted 399 minutes. It ended at 1:59 Central Time. That's what time it said on my clock as I watched Freddie Freeman walk it off of Brendan Little for the Blue Jays. Making them play again tonight seems cruel. It should have rained. I know it never rains in Southern California, but it should have rained in Southern California tonight. Give those guys a day off. They could all use it. All of the pitchers could use it. And like I said, that game deserves its own segment, and we're going to give it one when we come back here on 580 Sports Talk. 5:32 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan and Spencer hanging out with you. We're here with you until 6 o'clock tonight. Coming up after we're done, Chiefs Kingdom show. Chiefs Kingdom on a Tuesday following a Monday night win.
I'm very happy Mitch Holthus.
Very happy. We'll see how much voice he has after that game last night.
I ran into him in the elevator after everything was said and done.
He sounded good?
He sounded good. Was giving Matt McMullen some nuggets.
Hey, we love Mitch's game
nuggets
day.
from Mitch.
Yeah, game
and then
day.
he proceeded to explain to Matt how much we here at 580 Sports Talk love his nuggets on Thursday evenings.
We do.
525.
We do love them. We know you, the listener, love them as well. So look forward to the Chiefs Kingdom show tonight. That should be a very fun, very energetic edition of the show. You know who doesn't have a lot of energy today, hasn't had a lot of energy today? Anybody who stayed up to watch the entirety of Game 3 of the World Series.
Including the Fox broadcast crew that includes camera people. Did you see apparently it was getting at the end of it in like 16th and 17th innings. Some of the camera was getting a little touchy.
Yeah, there was.
I don't blame them. That's like a double header of work that you weren't prepared for.
You show up to do one game and you do literally two games. It wasn't the best baseball game I've ever watched, but it's in the discussion. So there was another. It tied the record in terms of innings for longest World Series game. 2019, the Dodgers and the Red Sox played an 18-inning World Series game. Max Muncy hit the walk-off home run for the Dodgers in that series. Dodgers, of course, did not go on to win that World Series. They lost to the Red Sox. But another fun note about that game and last night's game, Brad Paisley did the national anthem in both games.
Oh, yeah, I heard that. That's crazy.
Isn't that wild? The two longest games in history, and nobody's going to let him do that ever again. He's not going to get to sing any more national anthem. You can see him. No, don't you put that on me. If he's doing the anthem, I'm calling up an extra pitcher for the night. Anyway, I remember watching that 18-inning game in 2019. That was not a good baseball game. That was a slog. I fell asleep multiple times watching that game, and I was staying up for it because I wanted to see who would win. And I fell asleep. I think I slept through the entire 17th inning. It was a slog. It was just a bunch of routine out after routine out after routine out for the better part of extra innings. There was no excitement. There was not a lot of baseball stuff happening. It was a slog, and I was grateful when Max Muncy ended that game so that I could go to sleep. Last night, that was a good baseball game. That was an exciting baseball game. Now, was the execution offensively with runners on base or runners in scoring position very good? No, it wasn't. But there were runners on base. There was action. There were action plays throughout the extra innings. The relay throw to the plate to cut down Davis Schneider, who looks like he runs about as fast as I do, trying to score from first on that double into the corner, and he was out by about a nautical mile at home plate to end the top of the 10th for Toronto. Just a lot of action plays last night. A lot of bonehead base running plays, a lot of brilliant defense. Alejandro Kirk throwing out Shohei trying to steal. Tommy Edman made an unbelievable play in extra innings, throw out a lead runner. That was the ninth. In the ninth inning, he made that unbelievable play, throw out a runner at third. Vlad Guerrero Jr. threw out a runner trying to go first to third, and an infield hit. That was an awesome play. It was a great baseball game. It was an exciting baseball game for 18 innings in a way that the previous 18-inning World Series game was not. Shohei Ohtani got on base 9 times. They might walk him to start the game tonight.
Yeah.
Like they may have the Blue Jays may have arrived to the point where, and this is an easier calculation because Mookie Betts hasn't hit a lick all October and he's batting behind Ohtani. But they are at the point where we're just going to pitch to this guy. You go down to first. It's fine. We'd rather you do that than hit the ball 450 feet. They came to that conclusion one at bat too late because he hit the tying home run off of Sir Anthony Dominguez. I think it was the 7th inning. They kind of blur together, when you play 18 of them. They had a mound visit before that. And I can't imagine what that mound visit was. I'm sure they came out and said, hey, dude, what do you think? We're going to pitch to him here? And they came to the conclusion, yeah, we're going to pitch to him. And I'm pretty sure they didn't come to the conclusion, yeah, we're going to pitch to him, and he'll never expect it. I'm throwing a first pitch fastball right down the middle of the plate. He'll never see, no, it's gone. It's gone. Oh, well, tie game. He had 4 hits last night. They were all extra base hits. His last 7 hits have been extra base hits. at home in this postseason. I had some questions. Texture from 785 asks who's going to win the World Series MVP. Is Freddie Freeman the front runner right now? It's definitely not Freeman. He hasn't really hit a whole lot in the series until his heroics last night, hit the walk-off home run. If Ohtani pitches halfway decently tonight, like makes it through 4 innings decent and doesn't get another hit the rest of the World Series and the Dodgers win it, I still think he's the MVP.
Yeah.
I still think you make him the World Series MVP because he did. He flipped that game last night. It was 4-2 Toronto. Ohtani hit the tying double in the middle innings, had the tying home run after the Blue Jays had surged back to take the lead. And if he's entered the Bond zone where just nobody's going to throw him a strike, then yeah, you got to make him the MVP. I think. I think that's what it's got to be. But you know what the MVP of last night was? I got to think some of you who are Royals fans who stayed up late to watch that game last night maybe saw that pitcher come in the 14th inning for the Dodgers last night, the 15th inning, and said, wait a second.
Really?
Don't I know that guy?
That guy's name sounds familiar.
Is that the same Will Klein?
It can't be.
That is the same Will Klein who pitched 5 2/3 innings for the Royals in 2024 and was traded. Do you remember who he was traded for? I'll give you a hint.
Lucas Urseg.
There it is. You didn't need the hint. Yeah, he went. He was part of the Urseg deal. Him and Mason somebody. I don't remember the other guy. But, 5 2/3 innings with Kansas City. An inning and 2/3 with Oakland. And he got traded to Seattle, I think. And then Seattle traded him to the Dodgers for some guy, Jayhawk. Joe Jakes. I'm sorry. That's how you pronounce his name. He didn't pitch in any major league games this year. Klein was actually pretty decent for the Dodgers because they're a player development machine and everybody who puts on their uniform does well. But the command, it's a little iffy for Klein. That was always his knock coming through the Royal system. He walked 6 guys per 9 in the regular season. Last night, he's throwing darts for 4 innings. His season high pitch total was 36 in an outing. He doubled it. His season high for innings in an outing was 2. He doubled it in a World Series game. And I got to be honest. I forget who it was that he walked ahead of Tyler Heineman. I think it was Varsho. And then he threw, he tugged a fastball, and then he threw a wild pitch, and the go-ahead runs advanced to second and third there with 2 outs. I thought, this is not going to end well for Will Klein. He's left it all on the mound, but he has nothing left. Like, the fatigue bar is empty. There is nothing left for Will Klein to give. And he found the corner with a 3-1 fastball, and then he had the damn nerve to throw that curve, that son of a gun of a curveball that he threw to get Heineman to strike out. I said in that moment, they better go get him a run because that dude deserves to be the winning pitcher in this game.
Yeah,
that was such a gutsy performance. You talk about leaving it all on the mound and reaching back for one more pitch. That was sick. That was so cool. And good for Will Klein. It's mystifying that Dave Roberts cannot resist calling the bullpen and saying, yes, Will, can we bring on Blake Trinan to give up a bunch of hits and a bunch of runs, please? Before I put in one of my competent relievers, I would like to watch Blake Trinan throw up on the mound, please. I cannot resist. I need to see it. Please get me a helping of Blake Trinan giving up runs, which is all he has done for a month. And what he did last night. And all the dudes they brought in behind him. They got that dude Henriquez throwing 102 miles an hour. What
was that?
That's their last guy in the bullpen. He's throwing 102? Give me a freaking break. You won't try that guy? Instead of Blake Trinan, his ERA looks like a Boeing aircraft last month. I don't know. I can't explain Dave Roberts. I've never thought he's particularly good at his job. But anyway, ended up being neither here nor there.
Did you see I think it's Yamamoto? Did you hear all the discussion in the extras?
He was going to pitch next.
Yeah, if they needed to keep going.
2 days after throwing a complete game, he was going to pitch the 19th, had there been one.
Yeah, so if you didn't stay up and watch, they talked about it on the broadcast, but the interpreter for the 3 players on the Dodgers, I guess he went up to his interpreter and he said, like, basically in translation, like, I'm ready to pitch. I can go pitch for this team. I can pitch if needed. So then the translator goes to Dave Roberts and tells him this. And then it's like crazy. Like, that is putting your team on your back. That, like, I knew respect for that guy.
Yeah, being willing to sacrifice in that way. And thankfully, Freddie Freeman kind of saved him from himself a little bit from having to come in and pitch the 19th. I want to point out one more thing that happened last night. Clayton Kershaw came in relief in the 12th with the bases loaded to be a old school loogie, the left-handed one-out guy. He was out there to get Nathan Lukes out, and he was either going to do it or the Dodgers were going to lose. Because if he didn't get Lukes out, Lucas, I guess is how you say his name. It looks like Lukes. It's Lucas. That inning would have gotten topsy-turvy in such a hurry. So here comes Kershaw for what at the time felt like maybe the last time we'll ever see Clayton Kershaw on a big league mound. And we're talking about an all-time great. I think Clayton Kershaw is the best of his generation. I really do. And he's been one of my favorite pitchers to watch for many, many years, even though he's been a Dodger for all of those years. I've always liked watching Clayton Kershaw. And the playoff resume is what it is for Clayton Kershaw. So that was either going to be the most heroic thing you've ever seen or the most insanely funny thing you've ever seen. Either he was going to get the final out and it was going to be this heroic capstone on Clayton Kershaw's career, or he was going to give up like a 3-run double, a seed to right center field, and we were all going to get one more last chance to laugh at Clayton Kershaw, the playoff choker. And he got Luquez out, little nubber to the second baseman, Edman. But then the game kept going to the point where Kershaw might be first out of the bullpen tonight, man. Like, who else is it? Who else is there? If Ohtani can't get you through 5 and they need long relief, it's probably going to be him.
Yeah.
So,
or what's his face we were just talking about? Yamamoto.
Yeah, I don't know that they go to him in relief again. Christopher asked last night if it had gotten to the point of the 19th. Robert said it was either would have been Yamamoto or Miguel Rojas, who was playing second base, and asked about, there is the new rule in Major League Baseball that position players are no longer allowed to pitch unless the score is at a certain state. I think there are exceptions for the postseason.
Yeah,
I don't know that off the top.
Inning, when you have a game the next day, that would be an exception.
Yeah, I think they might have.
Hey, we don't have enough arms to play the next game if you're not allowing us to do this.
Christopher also points out the teams went 10 consecutive scoreless innings in the game. That's the longest stretch of consecutive scoreless innings in a single World Series game since 1956.
So Shohei Ohtani was the designated hitter in the one spot throughout the entirety of the game.
Yep.
His stat line is crazy.
He got on base 9 times.
Got on base 9 times.
But never happened in a World Series game, by the way.
4 with
4 extra
5
base
walks,
hits,
3
5
RBIs,
walks.
and 2 homers. Like,
Yeah.
that stat line is just crazy.
And he pitches tonight.
Like
This is
everybody
the best
else,
part.
like Betts, 1 for 8. Freeman, 2 for 7. Like, those are normal stat lines in this kind of game. But no, dude got walked 5 times because the threat that he could have walked it off.
Ohtani and Bieber, the starting pitchers tonight, should be a good one. It has been a great postseason. And I do think last night, that was not the 2019 18-inning game. That was a slog. What you saw last night, if you stayed up for all of it, that was one of the great baseball games of all time. We'll take a quick break, come back with some final Chiefs thoughts on a Victory Tuesday. Once again, Mitch Holthus from the Chiefs Radio Network with the call. Chiefs winners 28-7 last night. It's not official, but maybe you saw this from the transaction wires earlier today. This is official. The Cincinnati Bengals have released veteran defensive tackle Mike Pennell. Everybody jumped to the exact same conclusion when they saw that hit the transaction wire. And there are multiple sources reporting, though nothing has been confirmed by the team or an insider source within the team. But there is reporting that Mike Pennell is going to reunite with the Kansas City Chiefs. And it makes too much sense, right? With Omar Norman lost for the season, Pennell's trusted. He's liked in the locker room. Obviously, things didn't end real well this particular training camp in preseason with him. But if he ain't got a job...
You also had your fan favorite best defensive lineman over the last however many years, Chris Jones, lobbying weeks ago while this guy was still on a roster. Pennell is still on the Bengals roster at this point. He was lobbying to get the guy back here while he was employed by another one of the 32 teams.
Yeah, and maybe he knew. Maybe he was in a chat with Pennell where he was saying, "Man, they gonna cut me, dog." Maybe he knew. Maybe he knew something was up. But Mike Pennell released today by the Bengals. I would say do not be surprised if he is at practice on
tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Yeah, they'll practice tomorrow. They were off today, but they'll practice tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised. Let's just say that. I would not be surprised if Mike Pennell's on the practice field either tomorrow. Maybe he gets to town tomorrow, gets his physical, and then practices Thursday. Like, I would not be surprised. I would say better than even odds that happens, to be completely honest with you. I think everybody, including Brett Veach, has the same idea. We'll explore this more as we go along through the week. There was a report that Isaiah Pacheco has suffered an MCL sprain and is week to week. The specifics on the degree of the sprain have not been reported. Tom Pelissero had the initial report from NFL Network that is an MCL sprain. Week to week generally means not this week that we're going to see Isaiah Pacheco. So I would suspect that he might be out for Sunday against the Bills. And we'll get in as we go along this week what that means for the Chiefs running game. Could it mean that the Chiefs are more inclined to make a long-term move because they've only got this next game and then the trade deadline is Tuesday? Or do they maybe, if Pacheco's out for Sunday, do they give Elijah Mitchell a real look and see if that's somebody who can help them? I mean, I got to believe this is the reason that they've kept Mitchell around. It's a proven guy who's made plays on the NFL on Sunday, who's been learning the offense, who's been practicing with the team, who can maybe come in and fill in.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's been on the 53-man roster, but has been inactive for every single game this year. If there was a time to do it, it's now.
Yeah, I think that right now, I would say that that's probably the most likely scenario, unless the injury, like if this were a 4 to 6 week injury and they knew that right away, I would think the Chiefs would already be working the phones.
Yeah.
But I think that if it is just week to week and they feel like, okay, maybe he's out for the Bills game, but we can get him back after the bye for Denver and Indianapolis, then I think that's a little less urgency to go out and add a new piece, especially with Mitchell there. I mean, look, I wasn't real impressed with him in the preseason, but you may as well see what you've got. And I think that I think this is now the opportunity to maybe see what Elijah Mitchell has in the tank. We'll take one last break here, come back and wrap up this edition of 580 Sports Talk. Wrapping up, walking off this edition of 580 Sports Talk. Spencer Dupuis, what is your final word?
Yeah, final word for me. Last night was like living out a dream from when I was a little kid, if we're going to be quite frank. Covering my team, my favorite team, in capacity as a media member since like probably at some point in between the ages of 10 and 12 was like something I knew I wanted to do. And last night was pretty freaking cool, even though they lost. But it was just really cool. And seeing all the people in which are like, hey, that person does this. Oh, I watched this person on this on this channel since I was like 6 years old. Like, that was pretty cool. Also, ended up chatting with Santana Moss last night.
Huh.
My first ever NFL jersey, Santana Moss. And Santana Moss, nice enough to take a picture with me.
Oh, that's cool.
He asked me, he's like, you want a picture? And I was like, yeah. I wasn't going to ask him because I was like, I'm trying to be professional. But he was like, you want a picture? I was like, yeah, sure.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Mostly, I'm glad that you didn't get dragged out of there and I didn't get an angry phone call from Chiefs PR this morning. That's what I was hoping to avoid, and I'm glad that we did. Final word for me. It wasn't a great first half for the Chiefs. It wasn't a flawless performance, but if you're grading on the curve of flawless, you're always going to come up a little bit disappointed. What you saw, particularly in the last 30 minutes of last night's game, was what the best team in the NFL looks like. The Kansas City Chiefs put the throttle to the floor and showed their strength and flexed on a Commanders team that they should have been flexing on. The stretch of game that began with the start of the second half, an 80-yard touchdown drive, a stop, a 75-yard touchdown drive, another stop, and a 94-yard touchdown drive to take a 7-7 tie and turn it into a 28-7 laughter. That was pure, unadulterated dominance. It was the Chiefs proving our better is better than your better. When we are at our best, nobody can touch us. I can't say that about any other team in the NFL. I can say it confidently through 8 games about the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs Kingdom is next. That'll be fun. Then we're back tomorrow from 3 until 6. For Spencer Dupuis, I'm Dan Lucero. This has been 580 Sports Talk on 580 WIBW. Good night.